honestly, at some point you could just.
Yeah, it could work.
They've seen us.
That works.
They know it's us. It's not
Behold the 5-point star of lights.
Oh yeah. The black sun going up there too. So, we're here. We're live. No idea what the fuck we're gonna talk about. Again, we don't script these things. We just do it.
Half the time I go live, I don't even know what I'm going to talk about anyways.
Let me share this to mine now.
Alright. So, what are... I need to open the chat too. Okay, chat should come up. That's good.
Now you're popping up. Look at that. Let me share.
Top chat, live chat. I want to see all chat. Now we're good. So, I know we could talk about astral stuff.
We could talk about anything.
Whatever
you want to talk about, brother.
Let's talk about the AI and the black goo, but also the weaponization of that against the system. Because the system wants to steer even and especially the organic AI. How can we use that demonic potential to our advantage?
That all depends on your level of access to it.
Indeed.
Because if they have a certain level of AI and you have a certain level of AI, who's ahead? That's the whole argument they try to make between China and America, when realistically that's all part of the agenda. Whether it's China or America, it's part of the agenda. So if it's going to be regular people trying to use it to their advantage, I mean, you can always use it to your advantage in all the same ways everyone else can. But when it comes to actually like defeating the elites with it, that's where I say I don't think you can. Because they have...
believe you can.
They have
that's
the
really
funding
what they're controlled by.
As well. Realistically, it's controlling them. Because once they make it, even when they say they're going to use it, what do they use it for? Everything they want to do. So they'll ask it all the different ways it can plan out the path to their successful agenda, and then give them all the commands. And then what do? They follow those commands. So they create their own god, and then their god tells them what to do, and it even tells them how to upgrade itself and update itself. They have it even in the public. Recursive self-improvement is a thing now. That is a actually publicly acknowledged fact about AI now. So something like NSA's sentient world simulation, which has been doing that for 20 fucking years in the background, like it's trying to catch up to that and beat them with that. That's going to be hard to do. That's, if not impossible, unless one of them decides to break off, which I highly doubt. And if they did, it'd be for their agenda, not for us. So, I'm gonna break off and Elon Musk, I'm gonna use my AI to do what I want to do. It still wouldn't be good for us. It'd be great for him. Whoever else would do it.
The dumbest thing on his... I know they're steering the Q operation with their political agenda. Mm-hmm. That's really to enhance hyperdimensional AI into their so-called positive aliens to really the negative alien agenda. So great. The Dialectic now has lately had this post about... He literally typed it. He actually had a post that said assault rifles. And I was like... just face palming. I don't know the dumb shit. Like, here's a weapon, right? If I pull this trigger and assault an entity, that pistol is now an assault pistol. Now, because I assaulted a motherfucker, if I take this knife and I open it and I stab myself, I've assaulted myself. That's not even getting into another being at that level, but it's still an assault weapon. Like, why the fuck do people type assault rifles? It's
all rifles are assault. It just depends on if you're assaulting with them.
Exactly.
It's simply because it was commonly used by military forces to assault with those rifles that they call them assault rifles. But all
Correct.
rifles, all weapons are assault weapons. They're weapons. That's their point is to be a weapon. Period. Whether you're hunting people with it or you're hunting animals, it's still a weapon. It doesn't matter what you're hunting. If you're hunting, you plan to do violence with whatever you're using. It's a weapon. You're assaulting. But again, I call it airbending from fucking.
That is true.
The airbender, where with Aang and the last airbender, they bend air. I say these people bend air with their words. They will use words either to redefine things or to just establish those as that thing, so they can then do whatever they want with it. Call them assault rifles, and now you can treat them like they're some sort of special rifle and get rid of them. And then you just move down the list. Like
It's the principle of Lucifer meeting Belial with the legality. Very interesting how that construct works. That is the driver of the dialectic, yet it is how the power is taken back, regardless.
It's the only way to do it. Because if they're using the dialectic to take power, you must use it to take it back. Like, it's the same thing as if somebody has a gun and they're shooting people, well, somebody else with a gun is going to have to shoot that person who has a gun shooting people. Like,
Correct.
this is how it works. If someone walks up to you and punches you in the face, you punch them back. You don't like this. That's all power struggles in existence. Whatever they use for their power, if you can use it for yours, you do. And let's say, because somebody could say, well, what if Mike Tyson in his prime walks up and punches you in the face? You're gonna punch him back? I'm gonna shoot him. Like, you gotta, like, that's when you escalate. You escalate to the level of threat that is against you in whatever manner you can. If his weapon and your weapon are the same, but his is stronger, faster, better, because he's a professional at whatever that is, you know what I'm saying? Like, you both got swords, but he's a samurai, and you just some dude with a sword, shoot that motherfucker. And you can bring that from this level to the archons, to anywhere in existence, any layer of reality, anyone or anything that is bringing harm your way, you use the same thing to give it right back, or up the ante. Every single time. Doing anything less is just losing. Like, that's all you're gonna do is get beat the fuck up. In whatever manner they're assaulting you.
Indeed. I'm just enjoying my wine now at this point. Go with the flow.
I'm
Talk
enjoying
about
my
the
rum,
stars
so.
of this cabin. The moon's out, so the stars are a bit more obscured.
It's a little cloudy. We might see them tomorrow. Take some of them shrooms, go out, look up.
That's what I'm looking
See
forward
the
to.
sky grid popping.
I want to connect to the primordial whatever empowers me.
Agreed.
I'd heard about the serpent energy Nyahash, so I want to connect with that through the shrooms. Kind of experiment with focusing on the idea and see what happens.
Can you explain to them what the idea is?
Well, I found various concepts of it. I feel a draw to the energy of Nahash since it was the biblical idea is way more limited. A lot of the biblical idea of the cataclysm within Genesis, they really don't mention enough of what went on in that story. The dialectic of that is just skewed. So one guy so we look at it as an alien perspective. Some alien entity named Jehovah is a controlling narcissistic fuckhead. And so he wants everyone to be subservient to him. So this servant, not servant, in a way it's actually a servant of God if we consider God everything, but that's beyond Jehovah.
Yes.
This entity comes along.
This thing calling itself God.
This other entity, though, called the serpent, which actually represents genetic knowledge and lineage, but that's another subject. This fella wants the humans to be knowledgeable. Now, The way I see it is that this is just something that happened in history, and then they rewrote it, continued to do that until now it's in English, and people are stupid to what it actually meant mystically, let alone physically.
True.
So physically, what I believe happened, it's not necessarily proven. What I believe happened is that there was this huge empire, highly technologically advanced, named Atlantis. There were, of course, the Lemurians at the time. Now, Atlantis had these very controlling overlords and a hierarchy. We could say Yahweh was one of these entities at the top. So, I've actually read on various sources that supposedly they were infiltrated by a class of magicians or serpents, which would have had a hierarchy as well, because that's how things work. So they had the hierarchy. One of them was Lucifer, literally the light bearer. And they kind of ended at that. It's more of a title. However, people go deeper into the history, and the Christians have made it a point to name this thing as the fucking adversary. So I'm like, okay, why do Christians label things adversarial? They don't really like knowledge.
Correct.
So this adversary, deep in the records, has other names. It has the name like Nahash, and there's literally this supposed abyssal serpent, literally a serpent, but also heavily involved in knowledge. So I'm thinking, damn, that motherfucker sounds like a guy I want to work with.
Yet, if you were in the garden and ate that fruit, you'd get punished for it. But they say it's the serpent who whispered in their ear to get them to take the knowledge. Nahash, Nagash, Nagas, serpents. Go back to Egypt, go back to Nubia, go back to fucking anywhere in that region, you had the uraeus right on the forehead, right over the third eye. The serpent.
Yes.
Because forever, that shit meant wisdom. Like, literally forever. Then you get the Abrahamic faith. I mean, even in the East, dragons, these are the smartest creatures, the wisest creatures, etc.
Yes.
And there's good ones and evil ones, depending on how, whatever your view of good and evil is. All over the world, this is the case. Then come the Abrahamics. Like, and now the serpent is evil. And anything that was ever associated with it is evil. And I'm like, they're missing the whole point. And that's why a lot of people will see like the elites and people doing shit that has the serpent involved, or any of these older things, other things, Egyptian shit, whatever the fuck it may be. And they run so fast the other way because of their fucking Christian upbringings. Not realizing what it is they're actually doing with that shit. Like,
right on.
Like, because they associate it with what they would view as Satan today. So it's what they would view as Satanism today. And they run from it, not realize this was just what, that was the holy shit then. The shit you're doing today is the Satanism. If we're really gonna be real about, like,
yes, the Christian church, the satanic temple itself
is the Satan. Like, it's literally the Satan of history that is now considered God, and the so-called gods of history that are now all just demons. Like, you know, it's like, because depending on who's winning, people get different titles. Like, you know, it's like, if you are the government, it doesn't matter if they're a good revolutionary force, they're the terrorists. Like, you know, like, this is just how shit works. And if you're the terrorists, like, say you're not a good revolutionary force, you're just terrorists, whatever the fuck that means, the government is the devil. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yes. No matter what your perspective is, your opposition is going to be the devil, and your shit is going to be the God, and it's going to be the right and the wrong, the holy, the unholy, etc. And if you're losing, and the other team is calling you evil for the longest, and then you start winning, all of a sudden they're evil, and you're the good guys. Like, and it doesn't actually matter who the good guys are, or if there even is such thing as good guys, because it's just whoever's winning at the time that gets to call their shit holy and denigrate all the other shit. Pagans and this, you know, call them names and shit. Names that people will take back and claim later on and call themselves that and say, fuck it, call us pagans if you want. But name call them, like, nonetheless. oppression for generations.
The origin point of the witch hunts, as far as witch hunts go, period.
Christians. Muslims did it later, but at first, Christians.
Weaponization of religion at scale. Good old politics.
National
Statism,
religion.
genital. The statism is a phallic rape and pillage of the minds of men and women.
It is genital.
It's a massive erectus temple to the Thos prophets' political gain.
These are facts. So yeah, statism in general is genital. And there's state-sponsored religion. And even when people don't realize it, they still do. There's a reason why every president says, God bless America. Like, even in the country, we have freedom of religion. You still have a state-sponsored religion. And they think it's Christianity. It's Abrahamicism. It's not just Christianity, but that is the most dominant one in the nation. Like, and yet they still think that they're just, I don't know, different from everyone else. Like, and a lot of the people who get out of the Christian mindset per se still hold a lot of it without realizing it, and will still run from things like serpents. They'll still run from Nahash, like
Right.
when it basically means wisdom. Honestly,
Literally the keeper of wisdom.
When you break it down, it's wisdom. Like, and you're running from wisdom.
That's
Like,
why the people that know what it means are winning.
exactly. Because they take all the wisdom for themselves and scare you away from it because they're evil. So they do crazy, fucked up shit with it, making you feel like, oh, that's all you can do with it. No. And then people run away from it, and they run away from power. They run away from wisdom. They run away from knowledge, and they hide. Even if you don't believe in certain things as literal history, or you don't take it as your religion, get the point of the story. Like, understand what it's telling you, and get the wisdom. That's the wisdom. That's why I say peep the mythos. Peep the mythos. There's propaganda and everything. There's people writing themselves in all stories. There's just humans write these things, one way or the other. Even if it's history, a human wrote it. It's the only reason we know it happened. Some human said it to another human, said it to like, one way or another, humans passed along the information. So you know there's going to be humanness in it. Let alone if it's artificial shit like propaganda or, cultural shit, because different cultures will just automatically do things differently. Different people, based on who and what they are, when they write something, they'll write it in their style based upon their thought process, their time period, etc., etc., etc. So get past all the nonsense, understand it all, see it all, but don't get hooked on it. Like a lot of people today with shit that's made today, as opposed to old texts and shit, they can't get past whatever propaganda's there to get to the mythos of the story. It's like, fuck all that bullshit and get to the mythos. Get the wisdom out of whatever it is you're reading, watching, listening to, experiencing, etc. Whether it's historical, completely fictional, spiritual, religious, magical, like a dream, get the point. Get the mythos.
I think it was a fall-off point of that 2008 in terms of media, wouldn't you say? Like in terms of somewhere around that time when Star Wars Episode 3 particularly they had so much more mature themes while also tapping into mythos in those times.
Mm-hmm.
At least in Western media.
Well, humanity has also fallen off since then. So,
Yeah.
with the advent of all this technology and all the shit they're putting in food, everything they're injecting into, like, just all the shit.
Oh, yeah, the wide body area network. Can we talk about that one?
Yeah, we can talk about that
That
too.
is wild.
All this shit they're doing, they're making people less and less capable
Yeah,
of
they rely
even
on ignorance of it.
dealing with entertainment at certain levels, let alone getting to the mythos. And so they make things for the times they're in, for the people that are watching. And I know quite a few of these people who are like, I just want to see loud explosions and bad bitches. Like,
They want their vision reactions.
like,
It's all about the vision.
the darker themes, the deeper themes. If you want them, go to anime, because they're still there.
They are there.
You know, they're still there.
I was watching one very recently. I have to remember its name. It had some Kabbalistic influence. I think I showed 2 episodes on the server, didn't I?
Which one?
I have to remember the name as we go on. Or if you pull it up on the server since I'm streaming on this phone. But yeah, it had the idea of the tree. The Kabbalistic tree, of course, I believe that's a lockdown system. But nonetheless, it's the system that people largely find themselves confined to until they work through those energies. It's kind of why it's demonized. Why do you want people that are enslaved to your system to realize the system they're enslaved to? You don't want the program to start thinking of the daemons, Daemon, that run in the background and constrict its processes. You want them to be confined to their level of being. So you wouldn't want them to realize that tree. Nonetheless, when they start working through that tree, these sort of systems come into play. And that's where these power levels and ideas come in. It's actually under anime, manga. So this anime actually kind of goes into that idea where people at various levels of these trees, which are really trees within trees, is where the checkerboard dynamic comes into play, multidimensionally speaking. People look at it as a tree, but geometrically. The beams. Geometrically speaking, I think it's actually down from there now. Like, probably way closer to the bottom. However, geometrically speaking, it's kind of like, there it is. Lord of the Mysteries, that's it.
I saw episode 1.
I know there was a manga, but I haven't read it. I only saw parts of the anime so far. It kind of goes into that idea. And at a multidimensional level, there are literally gates and access points within the physiology of the mind, which creates everything. And part of that physiology is structured. It's all structured mathematically. There's nothing that's not really math. I don't think you could point to anything that's not math if it's in the mind of God.
Pretty much. Everything's a point in data.
But like, that's the kind of idea. There's the sun bonds and the genetic code. Don't even teach about that stuff in biology. They don't want people to know this stuff. And multidimensional connections. So people are working through, for example, the Qliphoth or the Kabbalah, or they're working through the Book of the Dead. It doesn't really matter. They're working through multidimensional points of structure. And a lot of them will, very few people have mentioned it, but some have, that you'll get to a point and people will think, oh, I've got through the whole tree. It's like working, say you work through the entirety of politics.
Mm-hmm.
You've worked through the checkerboard of politics and you think that you've done everything political you could possibly do, but you realize that you're at the end-all be-all of American politics. You haven't done shit in Russia. There's so many trees within a single tree.
Mm-hmm. All those branches and shit. Branches and sub-branches and facts. And reality, you can look at that as all of reality is that way.
Correct.
All of existence is that way. And you're just somewhere down on a branch. Like,
the beauty of knowing nothing.
And that's what the Qliphoth and Kabbalah try to teach people, if they study it properly. And then you can see where you are on that tree. You know, it's like symbolically, not literally. People, somebody's arguing already. You know, like I just hear the voices sometimes, like actually. But you can find yourself where you are on that tree, and then figure out what you want to do, which direction you want to work, what you're trying to do. What is your agenda for reality? And people don't think that large. And that's the problem. What is your agenda for all of reality? Because whatever you want for you fits into that. And if somebody else has an agenda bigger than yours, that is going to gobble yours up, you're not going to get yours. So you're going to have a bigger agenda. Like, people think what they're going to do this week, this weekend. They don't think, how do I want existence to go to the end of time? How do I want all this shit to work out in the end? They don't see the whole tree. Like they don't. They barely see where they are, the leaf they're sitting on. They don't even see the whole leaf, let alone the branch, like the sub branch, the branch, the larger tree, the roots, the Qliphoth. Like, and even when they do, somewhat, they can't fully understand it in a manner in which, because they don't really want to most of the time, to be honest with you. People just want to use magic to get money and like just like all the basic shit you can find any new ager doing.
This is both 𝕮𝖊𝖊𝖊 and Shangael Thunda. Both doing a collab video together. I've not done a video in a while. A hot minute anyway, so I decided just to do one with this guy.
Oh. Shout out to you, Mason Camden.
Yes.
We're just here bullshitting. Just talking. Random shit.
I actually heard a baby start crying outside, not like a little bit before I took the walk when you were in here.
Like it was outside?
Actually, it was. I think it was in
Or in one of those...
some home up the hill or something.
Okay, that makes sense. How do you just hear random babies
So
crying in the
I pretty much said the stupid breeders. So it's just this kind of poor. It's
Just
not
triggered you.
It did.
Heard the baby crying and got triggered immediately.
This poor bastard.
Feed the baby.
Mason says we are under surveillance indeed. We want to
Yes.
talk about the body area network.
We are all under surveillance.
I know it was 801 dot whatever. I gotta look up the protocol name again, but it's IEEE. Major corporation goes into this stuff. And they're using light fidelity these days, along with quantum entanglement. People really don't understand the quantum entanglement and how important that is with information technology infrastructure, let alone the importance of information technology infrastructure. People are just stupid.
Yeah. Let alone the fact that they're part of that information technology infrastructure.
I remember ages ago, I made a video about some, of course it's not up anymore, some dumb, how mega corporations are going to summon entities using quantum computers. Of course I wasn't talking about going to at the time, I was just going, this is what's going on with this dynamic. I'm talking about sigils and hypersigils and multidimensional interface. Some guy that proclaimed themselves to be into technology was like, this is bullshit. Of course, they didn't give any rebuttal.
Because he's also not into the occult.
Yep.
Like, you can be involved in any scientific field and be a true, have real knowledge of that scientific field, but if you can't mix that with other things, you don't understand the overall.
That's how the pyramid works. Compartmentalization of structure.
This is why I call it all the mythos. You have to put it all together, all of it, and look at every possibility from the most possible to the least possible, and then down to what you would consider to be impossible, because you could still be wrong about that. So you should look at all possibilities based on all possible information.
Freemasons. We had a whole conversation on Freemasons within the Discord server. Actually being a Freemason in the conceptual sense, it's a weaponized dynamic. It's going to be weaponized, whoever is into the dynamic. I could be an idealist Freemason because I desire to build the bricks of my own reality. Crodiums wrote a whole thing about the
Yes, he did.
Freemasonry.
Because a group takes a name and takes the whole thing for them. Like, they're not even the ones who invented it. It's all stolen shit from fucking
It's actually
North
stone
Africa,
masonry.
the Middle East. It's like
Right. It was Hermeticism mixed with the Egyptian concept of light and darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And it ran down through stonemasonry and eventually becomes Freemasonry. Then people, at some point in the time of the American Empire, it's infiltrated, I believe, largely through the crown, but the dynamic of Israel is there, and the Khazarians get into the Freemasonic sects, sort of give it the cult mentality through what they used it for that's become known for today. Because there are some people, correct, there are some people that are, they're all going to be, oh, we had this satanic ritual abuse, and people will laugh at them, and they're not wrong, but they're also not absolutely correct. They had satanic ritual abuse. People don't realize about SRA is that this shit goes down in Christian churches.
Most of it happens in Christian homes and Christian churches.
What's SRA? Saturnian ritual abuse. What types of symbols would be used in a satanic ritual? Probably a fucking cross. Probably a cross with a guy nailed to it in a blood sacrifice. People don't like to admit that because it breaks down their fragile Christian dynamic, and they gotta admit that the Freemasons are using Christianity against them to mind control.
Have been from the beginning.
Right. It's always the checkerboard dynamic. That's how they do things.
They even had special Bibles just for the slaves. Like, they made sure everybody learned that shit. You cannot read or learn anything, but we gonna teach you this Bible though. Like, that's how serious they were about using that shit. Like, people think that, like, oh, well, the truth is at the center they're satanic. Yeah, but what does that actually mean? And that's where they all fall short. They don't know shit about Saturn. They don't know anything about Yahweh. They don't know anything about Zeus. Nothing about Jupiter. Nothing about none of these fucking beings that they would term God in any form or fashion. None of the pantheons. None of the fucking histories of it. None of the spiritual systems. The magical systems. None of the they don't even understand the religious aspects of it because they've never even checked out the texts or like. So when they say, "Oh, these people are Satanists," I'm like, sure. If I'm talking to the right person, I will agree with them because I know what they mean. Well, most of these motherfuckers have a Christianized upbringing. I had one myself.
I did too.
You know, it's like, so. Even when they so-called leave Christianity, they still have a Christian mindset, whether they realize it or not, when it comes to good and evil, God and Satan, you know, like, whatever the devil is, like, like, over and over and over again is the same exact mind state, not understanding anything about Saturnian magic or Saturnian mythos, Saturnian religion, which is what these people really are in. All these individual gods are just placeholders for that thing. Like, so for Jews it's Yahweh. For American Christians they just use the word God. Some will get more specific and talk about Jehovah or, you know, like Yah. For Muslims it's Allah. But it's all that same being. All of it. There's still that same being who runs that same cube. The same cube that Jesus is nailed to.
Yep. The unfolded hypercube.
The same cube that they nailed the Christos to. The Christ.
That is one of the worst parts of the weaponization to what they did. There are many legends of the human potential, and a lot of them label it as some form of crystalline or hyperdimensional consciousness connecting everything. Because all is one. Yes, Crodiums, how's it going? So the all is one grants the inner realization of, oh, I'm God and I am powerful. But what really better way to weaponize the idea than to get the name of the idea down to one name like Christ and then crucify it, even as an idea, so that when people see the name Christ, the first thing they think of is either the entity that is said to have been crucified, or even if they leave the church, they're still going to think of that as the only thing that Christ is. So they're stuck in this loop. They're not going to think of Christ as, I'll get a bit mathematical here, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, and so on.
So on and so forth.
So if that number keeps going up and up and up, and it encompasses all the numbers before it by adding all the numbers before it. I was reading this, the Metatronics does not necessarily add the numbers. It starts at 2. They don't start at 0 and then go to 1, because the 0 is the centerpiece. The 1 is the mathematical realization that the 0 can be greater, but also within 0.
From nothing to something.
Yes, and that 1 is still there. Now, when you don't incorporate the 1 and you go with the 2, you kind of start off wrong, because you can't do 1 plus 2 and realize that there is yet another 1 in the 0. We get 4 and so on and so forth.
You're starting at creation instead of before it.
Right. So they break this down. The idea is that Christ meant everything. It didn't mean some limited being that got nailed to a cross. So they weaponized that idea and made everyone think in a loop, which regresses them to the very loop itself. And so when they deny Christ, they're not denying a dumb entity that wanted people to worship it. And I'm just going to say it that way. I don't like Christianity. But they're actually weaponizing math itself. I'll just deny the fact that all is one. And people have been so degraded to think that that's actually a dumb idea. And they'll make it look bad by doing the dumbest things themselves. If all of these pedophile elites are doing what they're doing, why would you want to be one? So they'll weaponize it that way. There are all these dialectics to weaponize against.
And this is why I laugh when people kind of say, we're all gonna be, I go, you're missing the entire point. You're already, everything is one thing. Like, everything always has been one thing. And as long as there is things, those things will always be part of that one thing. Period. Like, that's just, no one can make a real argument otherwise. Everything is in everything is in everything. All this shit. This reality itself right here is holographic. This whole shit, it's like we're sitting in a TV. It's like it's all one thing. Yes. At different levels of projection, but it's the same thing. So when people try to make the argument, oh, we will be one, or this, that, and the other, they go, first off, you already are, whether you like it or not, whether you think it's a good thing or not. Like, understand it. Like, people always think it's about what they want to believe or something. It's like, bro, if you understand it, it's a statement. It's not a fucking question. It's not a future thing. It's a thing that's always been. That thing, whatever we want to call it, some people call it God, the all, source, whatever they want to call it, that is the true all thing. Everything under that is individuated within that, which is why we can experience things individuated. I'm sitting here with Aaron. Aaron is sitting here with me. We're not in each other's bodies. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can't physically, literally share the same exact space as individuated beings, but we're in the same space. You guys, we're in the same thing. We're made of the same shit. Like,
in and of the same pixel that is the all.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and we're definitely taking up less than a pixel in all things that exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, sitting here on this couch. But people don't think big enough. They always want to boil it down to just their life in some form or fashion. Whatever level they may see that at. They might go as large as a realm, as a matrix. They might even go to a base reality somewhere. Like, but they still don't see the whole thing, the whole tree. Down to the fucking roots and what those roots are digging into. You know what I'm saying? Like, folks gotta think bigger. You think bigger, and a lot of things make way more sense. It's like you have to look at everything like a fucking collage. You got all these little fucking pictures that make up this one big picture. You zoom out, you see the big picture. You zoom in and you see all the details that make it up. Like, and all those details are individual pictures. Whole bunch of little pictures make the one big picture. That's reality.
Because the 5 lights create the 5-pointed star in the grand circle. They also create the star of origin if they start rotating on each other.
Whatever it spins.
The BMW symbol as a spin. You seen that one?
I didn't actually, but I can imagine it. Got a whole 4 people in here. Y'all got any questions? Want to say anything? Go ahead, throw it in there.
Yes.
We're just sitting here chilling, talking.
There's more to talk about too.
We got no script or nothing. We just chilling.
Things to delve into.
I mean, we're in Discord all day, so it's like...
Oh man, I had so much fun typing a comment earlier because I was going into the Abrahamic ideas and kind of deconstructing some of where people were locked, some of these ideas people were locked down to.
Such as?
It was really a lot. You might want to actually, I'll read it. I'll read a lot of it anyways.
Where was it at?
Under philosophy. I know Crow said I was wasting my time, but I do believe I got an intellectual takeaway from typing all of it out. So it depends. If I was only arguing, it would have been a waste of time. But I actually did like it. Alright, so it was a response to... Actually, I'll read the comment it was in response to. The guy's name was Big Balls 420. So I don't even know if I got a screenshot of. Let me go back on this thing. Okay, that one, isn't it? There it is. It was about some person that is, admittedly, they're tied down to an Abrahamic view, but this person's comment was stupider, so I just had to respond and enjoy myself. So apparently, Bigger Balls 420, wonderful name, says, this guy is full of crap. This wasn't in response to me, it was a whole other video on another channel. Great storyteller, though. Love his imagination. Cloud bubble of thought emoji. But
wrote it out.
But I really do feel sorry for the people in these comments believing him. Kind of messed up. He's bringing God and Christianity into all of this lying. I'll get to that. I found that amusing that a person with that name, yeah, their profile picture is a picture of Trump's mugshot. So my comment went into that as well. Here's what I responded, and it's going to take a minute. I went into great detail. Times like these are when I cannot tell a troll from one who's legitimately ill of mind. You state that it is, quote, kinda messed up he's bringing God and Christianity into all of this lying, end quote. I suppose you speak of 𝕮𝖆𝖊𝖆, potentially Yeshua in this God, as you did not specify directly with the many pantheons in the Bible. That alone is probably going to piss people off, because
there's only one God.
You're right. Regardless, you have implied that lying is the root issue here, and yet you have the profile image of Trump's famous mugshot. I'd asked a political frontman, no different here than using a picture of Biden or whoever else also serves the cabal. Yeah, Q and all this stuff, it's so dumb. They're like, the white hats are helping us.
No, they're not.
The people that serve the same pyramid, just under a different lodge, but within the same pyramid as the black hats. Yeah, they're helping you get away from the pyramid that you're all stuck under because they're rolling you. They even call them white hats. It's like you should see that they're part of the lodge system, which has the black hats working hand in hand. Those people just, it doesn't bother me that they think that themselves, but it just, I mean, that's part of it.
Everyone needs a savior.
That's what bothers me. Anyways, thus you idolize an image of lies, whilst any glance at your profile will reveal the text, Jesus loves you. And they didn't have a period there, so I led on. And I quote that directly, as you've again neglected the use of proper grammar. God damn it. You know what? I didn't have proper grammar. I'm going to call myself out because I didn't put a space after that comma. Anyways.
These things occur.
A period in this case. At least I actually attempted to put the things in their place. Instead of not including them to begin with. Stupid humans. Alright. Now the rest of these paragraphs. I am coming from a position of not being a Christian in the slightest. And I just love pointing the... I know I'm egotistical. I'll admit it. And I just love pointing these things out with any system at any level. You say you adore this being, worshipping them, and you yet implicate thyself with lowly politics and sworn masters of either side to the black and white checkerboards. Man, this is why the church is falling. You all are stuck on the checkerboards of control, coming out of one checkerboard and landing upon yet another rigged game. Never the self-mastery, always the bootlicking.
Always the bootlicking.
Let's say this man was in fact a storyteller of false pretense. He still points out these dialectics for those who delve deeper. And I do mention his name eventually. It's actually from a podcast called The Confessionals. I don't think the majority of the videos are really that good because they're Christian influenced like crazy. But this guy named Nathan Reynolds, and I'll get to why I think he's smarter than he lets on. I might be wrong, but it's like he actually holds something critical back. So, anyways, I go on. As for myself, I cannot be apologetic to what I see as being wrong in this video. For example, Nathan being of Yah, a warring deity, whilst being against Satan. In terms being an angel of Yah mentioned in this video. He actually mentions it. He says that he actually brings up Job in the Bible and talks about that Satan comes into the court of heaven, which means that Satan is not a fallen angel.
He's allowed in the court of heaven. He just walks in, saunters in.
And he's speaking with Yah in his office. So that means Satan works with Yah.
And he's speaking to him like, unlike any of the other ones. Matter of fact, he's the only one Yah even speaks to in the room. He walked in. It says he walks in with his brothers. So there's him and other angels who walk in, and the only one who gets talked to is Satan.
Correct. So Satan has a high position as a non-fallen angel in this context. People need to read their fucking Bibles.
Right in the Bible. Right in the Old Testament.
So I don't get how this guy can say he denounces Satan and yet works with the lead principal fellow that commands Satan.
The man who Satan is the right-hand man of.
So, what? So anyways.
You work with the boss, but not his right-hand man. Sounds like jealousy or something.
So I say, and yet seemingly denouncing Satan. I would greatly enjoy talking to the man to really delve into this knowledge he is presenting. And I really would. I would love to actually speak with Nathan. I wouldn't bend the knee at all to his Christian dynamic. I would just like to know where he's coming from, and I think he's holding something back. I don't think he's actually a Christian, is what I'm saying, unless he's a Christian that works with all of these entities still, because he knows too much. Unless he's got Stockholm Syndrome at that level. He knows too much. Alright, I'm going to just kind of read on. The way he understands it. Namely, how can Satan be evil if Yah created the game and also created Satan, whom is still serving Yah to date? He can only be evil if Yeshua did not in fact come, for emphases, according to the New Testament as followed by Christian belief, in for emphases, to appoint a new era wherein Yah was the lesser being. People need to read their Bibles again, because these Christians profess to know their Bible, and then they say praise Jesus, but somewhere they always seem to say praise Yah. Some of them are better than that, because they actually read the book and know what their religious idea is supposed to hold. And I don't follow it, but I know what the context is. That's key, is the context. That
Jesus
they can.
And Yahweh are enemies.
Exactly. Jesus came from supposedly in the Gnostic belief, which is proven in the actual King James version that they proclaim most often. He mentions wisdom, his mother Sophia, that he comes from the Holy Mother, literally the mother of God.
And that part was written in Greek. It says Sophia.
It does. It says the mother of God.
Like,
Like, literally, the woman that birthed this guy that supposedly saved these people, if they could actually listen, because my people die for lack of knowledge. Direct quote, by the way, from Yeshua ben Yosef. Yeah, they don't read this shit. So, so he supposedly actually came to supplant, not with that word, but to replace the law of Yah. What would the proper word be?
more to condemn it.
Yeah, so they're practically worshiping what Jesus supposedly came here to get them not to worship.
Exactly.
It's so stupidly
He
ironic.
spent the entire the entire New Testament going from country to country, talking to almost nothing but Jews, and changing the ways that telling them you're doing it wrong, do it like this. Like, even went to the Pharisees, the fucking who was the real staunch ones. I can't remember which ones. But there was a specific set of Jews who are considered like the rule followers.
The rule follow. God, what a title. That would suck.
And he went there and told them they were wrong in every fucking way imaginable when they were following every rule of Yahweh. So if somebody's coming along and telling you that you're following God wrong, yet you're following every one of your God's rules, then obviously y'all don't work for the same God. Like, you know, it's like,
Exactly.
like
So I'm gonna finish. Actually, that was the first part of the comic. I went so in depth. I think I got halfway through it. I legitimately I enjoyed this so much. Like, I was stimulating my mind and literally mentally masturbating. So this this ultimately devolves into a scenario with the same mind, the isness of God, and I'm talking about actual all-encompassing, not some limited being experienced with, yes, very real consequences, yet it is one all the same. Thus the divide and conquer. The souls of men, with two warring masters, yet labeled as God above that mind, consequentially, imbalance of modality, imbalance of spiritual pursuit. By that I mean, like we were talking about, time itself, 𝕮𝖆𝖊𝖆, tetragrammaton, in the Western magical sense. I could actually call upon that right now,
yes,
and I would be calling upon Belial, Lucifer, as two halves of that dragon. I would be calling upon time itself, like time, in a way that's also Shiva, the destroyer, to destroy what I need. Get that out of my way so that I can get something that I want in my life. That's true left-hand path. But people see Yah and they think of, oh, my Lord and Master, and they're putting this outside entity.
elevating it to a level it doesn't belong on.
Absolutely. They subvert themselves entirely. So that's a problem with this religious idea.
They bend the knee.
That even the religious idea that it does become a religion when people leave their so-called religion. They leave the religare, the binds and the snares. They get outside of that, and great, we've broken free from Christianity. Now I can go and worship the state.
Exactly. I can find
Or
something else
science.
to worship.
They always do this, the state, science, whatever they can do to bind themselves. They even put themselves on a time clock and say that, gotta serve my time. They're still worshiping Yahweh.
Yeah, every time they clock in and clock out.
That's literally the
Every
Chronos
time the
machine.
alarm goes off. This is
Yep.
time.
So-
The point is to take your time back, to invoke the Chronos, the Yah, all that shit within you, so you can take your time back. Like,
Yes.
instead of having your time controlled. That's what a matrix is. It controls your time, your consciousness, what you're paying attention to, etc., etc. Like, that's the cube. That's the matrix. And there's many of them, not just one. Like, and there's many levels of them. And everything or anything or anyone that is in control of that is your Saturn. Let alone actual time itself as an entity. Like,
All right, I'll go to the next paragraph. It's literally, it is this long. I be writing books. I think you said that the other day, didn't you? Like, yeah, I do be writing books. Personally, I believe, thank you. I believe it to be present in both you and Nathan. I mean this not as an insult. Only I intend to show both parties there was a minute yet critical lapse of judgment here. In, of course, responding to Bigger Balls 420. As for yourself, you serve Jesus in your online profile, and yet you pronounce the overly masculine idea of Bigger Balls 420, thus implying the phallic archetype in the unhealthy masculine or narcissistic force, as well as the use of 420. Is it drugs or the birth of Adolf Hitler, who led Germany from 1933 to 1945? Questions to consider when you venerate one thing, yet act as though only one must be served. In this sense, they're saying they'll serve Jesus, but their profile picture is Trump. They're all about their dick, bigger balls, and at the same time, they have 420 in their profile, which has so many meanings. I mean, is your great uncle born on 420? Are you an adherent to Hitler's ideals? Or is it about 420, the day of weed smoking? That's at least three things that it could be, and not even going into more. It's like, but yet they're of Jesus, which takes all their heart and soul to be of.
There should be a picture of Jesus.
Maybe they just like Jesus's big balls, and they imagine him smoking weed to connect more with the Christ. Maybe. Anyway. Alright, what is odd to me with Nathan's viewpoint is the veneration of this Jehovah Tetragrammaton force, the one lower than the Mother of God. Of course, we talked about that a moment ago, but I'll still read what I typed. Sophia, who is arguably still fallen, as all would be, existentially from pure isness. People don't get this. The Gnostics...
Pure isness.
Right, the Gnostics seem to venerate Sophia. She's still below the true source in the all, which is of that, in the source existing within all, and as all. It is all. It is also nothing, because it's everything and nothing at all.
Caps lock ALL.
Yes. Yet beyond this, the worship of Jesus, and through this, his connection to the Christ archetypes. Of course, I say archetypes. There are
many Christs.
Yeah, there's the Buddha, and that doesn't even get into all of them. Then there's the idea of Christ. Again, I would greatly enjoy further delving into these ideas, because in my mind it reaches into territory regarding masters above the self, for emphases, coming from my service to self perspective, in parentheses, masters who in this very conversation are at war. So, 2 more paragraphs, and that's basically it. There is the further reaching view here that I believe is known, if one only knows, and it remains unmentioned, and for good reason. That being reputation. I can surmise in my mind that Nathan does know it is a singular mind, yet he is limiting the mention to Yah as to mitigate issues with his more so religious audience? ? It is intelligent, because many of those people who click out of a video, will click out of a video, that is, when such is explained. This is the only way I can determine him being on the money, whilst also not self-deluding. Checkerboards within checkerboards, the hypercube, the unfolded cross symbolically. This very unraveling to the construct of the lower matrix is the key behind the sacrifice that many Christians venerate. So why go right back to worshipping the world, who is Saturn, whom is Satan, whom is Yah? That's how the comment ends.
Because they would argue with you that it's not Satan, even though their book tells them otherwise.
Right. They need to really teach...
Their God is the devil.
That, like, they could teach reading comprehension with... I mean, if they only taught trivium, that would be arguably enough. They don't need to teach quadrivium. Like, you have trivium, which is logic, grammar, and rhetoric. Like, you have connections to connections, and point to point.
That a lot.
That's logic, connection. And then you have grammar, the words and the way that words are spoken, etymologically speaking. So you're making the connections, grammatically speaking them properly. That's logic to grammar. And then you have rhetoric, how you carry about a logical form of grammar into everyday life. What are you doing on a regular basis? So logic, grammar, and rhetoric. That's all that you really need to teach someone, and then they start teaching themselves if they're smart enough. That's up for the being to decide. But they don't even teach that in school necessarily. They teach English, but they don't teach the logic behind the English. They don't teach the rhetoric in the way that you carry that grammatical English. So you kind of get confined there.
Because then language would actually be useful to you.
Correct.
They just want you being able to speak in a way that is useful to them.
Now, if people can use language, they might even get into other notebooks and ideas. You would start getting into the quadrivium. Is it number in space, number in time, and then number in space-time. So they have the other names for it, like astronomy being number in space, geometry, number in space and time. If I got that right, I don't know if I got that fully right. And then music is number in
Yeah, I think you got it right.
time. Yeah. Something around those lines.
Because the geometry is in space and time. So
Right.
Sounds like it makes sense to me.
So do that. You really mix the two, you get this whole linguistic framework. But people don't even learn the one, let alone the seven. That creates the totality of the two, trivium and quadrivium.
What's his name? The guy who talks about natural law?
Mark Passio.
Mark Passio. He talks about that a lot.
Like, I agree with so many of his ideas, but I believe that it's almost like they're deliberately missing the point of might makes right. As bad as it is, as fucked up as it is, that seems to be the point that's being missed.
It always is. It always is. You could be as correct as you want to be. If you can't fucking do anything about being correct, it doesn't fucking matter. The people who have the power are correct and you're wrong anyway. Like, because that's how reality is going to form around you. Period. Like, you can love it, hate it.
Like, we can talk about the Christ archetype, and I'm talking about how they talk about it all day. It's great. Everything is in everything, but that also means that evil, terrible thing is in you, and you better be able to weaponize it.
Mm-hmm.
You want to stop it, you have to weaponize it.
Everything is in everything, all is all. This is why when religious people venerate a specific god and make that their god, they're missing the point that they are part of all this shit. All this shit is part of that. Like,
the CIA would know this. They have to infiltrate groups.
They
Right?
know this.
So
they absolutely know.
They don't just not say that, oh, I can't act like I'm some form of predator, whatever that type of predator is and what they're being a predator against. Yeah, they have to infiltrate those groups somehow. They go down to very terrible levels, and yeah, of course, they're a weaponized system within the government, and let alone who controls them. But they're going to those very even darker levels just to control the ones that they seek control over, dominion, slavery over.
Yes, Crodiums, 1 equals 1. All.
Yep.
Everything. It's all in the same thing. People like to skip over that shit, not recognizing how this shit actually works and why they're able to use certain things to their advantage in the fashion that they do. Why they'll push a certain religion in order to pump power into a certain god, a certain thought concept that they can then use to overpower other thought concepts to get those thought concepts to do what they want them to do, to build their reality around other people that they're using to power these thought concepts. It's retarded, but it's exactly what they do.
Yep.
And they know how to do it because they care to. We don't, so we don't do it. And I say we as a people. Obviously, the two people sitting on this couch talking to you think about this a lot. Where these motherfuckers know exactly what they're doing by placing those gods on pedestals
To the benefit of the doubt, let's say there is the parasite. Of course, it's still going to be part of the mind of God,
Still
but
part of the all thing.
how do we fix the all thing? If we look at this from like a medical perspective, like God is I know you call it broken God.
Broken God.
Like that's literally what's going on here. God is broken. So, if it's all one, how do we fix God? Well, clearly this realm isn't working. It feeds off of itself, so it's part of the parasite dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
So the parasite must feed off of decay. It seems to be the very base reasoning is decay, period, death.
So a piece of God requires
Amputation.
pieces of God to be decayed in order for it to. It's like a cancer.
Yeah, we've got to amputate the cancer and burn it, so to speak. So that's where, really, it seems like the idea of burning it doesn't seem so bad after all if you start thinking about it.
It doesn't. And
If we're all immortal souls under this terrible demiurge that is the realm, we should burn the realm entirely from the inside out.
and probably kill that demiurge thing.
Might fix God, or at least a point of it.
It's a step in the direction of the cure, if there is one, because we might
Might be fucked.
find out that there isn't one. But you got to start taking if God is cancer, start killing the cancer and see where you end up. Like, like maybe you'll cure God one day. Maybe not. Maybe God will still die. Maybe because the cancer is absolutely even though God may die, God could become a zombie. They do want to plague God with never-ending, forever-living nano, femtotech, picotech. Like,
There's like two probabilities there. It can't really be denied. Is there a higher realm and they're really that far gone mathematically? It would have to be some form of mathematics. Are they dissonant enough to actually disconnect from that realm? I tend to hope that's the reason, because if that's the reason, then it can be fixed. But if that's not the reason, then God chose to be here because that whatever level it came from is worse. We're worse off there. So we better hope that it's the first thing.
this is as good as it gets. That would be fucking terrible. That would be fucking terrible. This is as good as it gets, or this is all there is, or anything along those lines. Horrible. Let alone forever. If it's temporary, at least one day it goes away. But if it's made to be forever, and then these elites want it to be forever. Forever, ever, ever, ever. Ever, ever. Like,
ever.
because they're all about God's great work, as they call it. The Grand Architect's great work. They want to do that shit. They're trying to build that forever zombie God thing. Like, even if God wants to die, they don't want to let it die. Like,
We got any of that Pepsi in here, by the way?
I think she put it in the fridge.
I think I used my wine glass or something.
But it's like, God is broken. This is what fractals are. When people like to talk about fractals, and they talk, fractals, it's beautiful, it's wonderful, ever increasing complexity. I'm like, that's just God breaking further. I'm like, when your mind is fractaling, that's because you're going insane. And that's why you're producing all these personalities known as individuated consciousnesses. Beings within a greater being. Some beings are lesser or greater than and have more power or more sway within that mind, known as God, the all thing. But they're all just individuated pieces of that one thing that's broken.
Mathematical politics.
So one answer is spiritual. Put it all back together that way. So God, but even that, to be honest, let's say you do put God back together, but God is still alone in the void somewhere. Like, he's still all that is. When you're all that is, you're alone. Like, you're forever, infinitely, eternally. However long this being exists, there will never be another being for it to play with. Even the Brahmin story, he created Maya to play with, but Maya was an illusion because God is all things. He couldn't create something outside of himself because all things are him. Like, so it was just an illusion. So he said, you want to play?
Story ever.
The only person you can play with is yourself. So here's illusion. Here's Maya. Here's reality, where you are all the players. You're the experiencer of everything. All the good, all the bad. You're doing all of it. There's no more experience you can have than that. Like And that's a broken god. Brahmin wants to stop the play. Like, Brahmin got bored and then broke his mind by accident, like, with a thought. I wish I had someone to play with. Snap. Like, I wish I had another consciousness. Well, you are the only one, so you just broke yourself off. Like, and then that one, realizing it broke off from you, is looking at you like, oh, you're the all thing, and you're about to, you want to, okay, we play a game. Illusion. Now I'm God. And you're sitting in a corner tweaking somewhere, like somebody in a padded room. Like, while I play God as the part of you that you broke off from you. Like, so even in that story, it's like, God is a broken God. If you want to go into the Christian story, just look at Yahweh. The motherfucker's insane. Go into the Sophia story with 𝕮𝖆𝖊𝖆. He's insane. Like, and these are even as lesser gods, let alone as the all thing that all these things make up. Like, so if you look at all these stories and basically all the way down, from the Godhead down to where we are right now, shit's crazy. That would mean God is crazy. Like, that's
It's crazy literally means cracked.
You know what I'm saying?
So God is in pieces, God cracked itself.
God,
That
God
is literally the
Humpty Dumpty.
definition of crazy.
Yes. That's a psychotic break. Imagine being like a newborn, even if you're a supreme genius all thing, you come to, you're conscious for the first time in existence. This is you are existence. So you have just now become. Whenever that was, however long ago that was, you've just now become, and you're consciously aware that you're the only thing that is. How long till you break? If your mother gave birth to you and put you in a fucking dark closet and just left you there, for example, you're never walking, talking, you're just going to be in your fucking head.
It could actually be even beyond time, because we have the idea of time here in this realm. But these things exist as pure ideas, concepts. So it's probably infinitely... We couldn't even imagine how fast it happens in terms of recursion. So if everything was destroyed, like, completely, I think it would just recur. It would happen again.
Very possible. Even if it was able to... Because if it came into existence with no need... Like, there's no... It is existence.
Right. You can't even really...
So it doesn't
think
have
about
a...
it completely, because I've tried to think about it when I tried to think of what created God. That's kind of the first mind break I had from Christianity. I literally just sat there and I thought, what created God?
And this is why even science, even magic, even the occult, spirituality, etc., all has to go into the chaos, which is simply the potential for creation and destruction. The potential for something to exist and the potential for that same something to not exist. So if there is nothing, how do you get something from nothing? Well, there has to be a potential. Even though this potential makes no fucking logical sense, you have to get from the nothing to the something. Because the something exists somewhere. Like, so there has to be a space for it to exist. There has to be a somewhere for the something to exist. Like right now, Aaron and I are sitting on a couch, in a cabin, in a town, in a state, in a country, on a planet. You know, like, we are something
Indeed.
existing somewhere. Even God is something. It is existence, therefore it exists. Because it literally is the epitome of existence itself. This all thing, 𝕮𝖆𝖊𝖆𝖊, whatever people want to call it, the all thing.
I love their Lovecraftian idea of it. I haven't read enough Lovecraft at all, but I love the idea.
I think 𝕮𝖆𝖊𝖆𝖆 is the best depiction of the all thing I've ever seen. I think it's perfect. That's why I like to call it 𝕮𝖆𝖊𝖆𝖆, so people can go look at it and see, get a depiction of it, you know?
Right.
So this all thing, that is everything, everywhere, that exists, has to have a space to exist within. It's got to be somewhere. Because it is something. And all some things are somewhere. So you have to go from nothing to the something. What's between that? And this is what they call chaos. The shit that makes no sense. That's why it's chaos. Real chaos. Not order designed to... Not what they call chaos like in this universe. Because chaos in this universe still, it has an order. The better they get at math and science, the more they find, oh, that's not actually chaos. Oh, that's not actually chaos. Oh, that's not... This is all just more minute types of order that are so complex we could not scale them without, say, AI or in computers or quantum computer. Like, real chaos is literally impossible to actually understand. Like, that's the whole point of it. Going from nothing to something is not understandable. God itself wouldn't even be able to tell you how it came into existence. It would simply say, that's the reason why even in the Bible, I am that I am.
Thing would start speaking. It wouldn't even be binary, just incomprehensible.
Completely and entirely. I am that I am.
Like, it's actually speaking now. That's why we're here.
I simply am. How, when, where, why, I don't know. I am that I am. Like, because this all thing just came into existence at some point. And everything else came into existence within it, including all the gods that people want to worship, and like all the people, all the places, all the thing, everything. If it exists within existence. Period. That's what existing is. You are within existence. Like, so you're within that all thing. Existence itself. But imagine being that all thing. That's a psychotic existence. Like, there's just no two ways around it.
That is, like, it's just pure psychosis.
Its mind is gonna fall to entropy eventually. And it's going to split between two camps that are in different gradients within those camps. There's going to be the forever camp, and the end it now camp. And then in the middle is the neutrals. And then the further you go to end it now, the more you're in that side. The further you go to keep it alive forever, the more you're in that side. But it's a spectrum from make everything immortal to destroy everything now. And everyone is going to fall somewhere along that spectrum. And whatever wins, whatever individual forces within the mind of God win, will be the ones more likely to succeed in what it is they're trying to accomplish. Right here, right now on this planet, those dudes who want this shit to go on forever, they're winning.
They are absolutely winning.
They're dominating, actually. It's a landslide so far. Like,
yeah, there's got to be way more people just against statism, at the very least.
at the very bare minimum.
Would really start to solve things. At least in a positive direction. Not even necessarily the entirety of it.
And that's the problem. A lot of people want quick fixes, easy buttons. They want to get all the way to the end. And they want to know exactly how to get all the way to the end from the very beginning. And I go, that never happens. Like, you have to start taking steps in that direction, and then you find your path. Period. It doesn't matter if it's a revolution, a civil war, any type of war that's ever, like, you make your initial plays and then just go from there, and you adapt.
Yeah,
and
like
you
building
continuously
kits
adapt.
and stuff.
But
I didn't get to see what I got in my full kit, but I was showing Shangael. And I'm gonna be upgrading that thing over time because it's for like illegal activities. I didn't just start with the inherent idea of everything and now I have it. Because if I did that, I would actually have a fast helmet system and insert all these militaristic ideas. I'd have everything that I could possibly want. But if I did that, I might as well already have the sports car that would lead me to and all this other shit. I gotta start
somewhere.
Yeah, I gotta start somewhere. So I didn't start with the best gear. Instead, I have basic stuff without giving away what it all is. I got a hat. I got stuff to cover the entire body and become another entity. Like, I got a cloak of darkness, basically. And then I got
an invisibility cloak.
I got the invisibility cloak. It's legit. And I have a headset that I can literally hear people like I am a vampire. That is also not a joke. It will block out harmful sounds and gunfire whilst I can hear you breathing in another room. Yes, it is that good. It's terrifying. And like, I am a freaking night wraith when I put this thing on. And it cost me maybe $500 just for that stuff. That's not the whole gear, though. but I worked a job to get to that point. If I use that and start doing the legal stuff and actually get to an even better point, it's gonna be fucking terrifying. But it just means that I have more work to do.
Yes, but at least that work is going towards in some direction. The slavery you've performed is in some way going to hopefully go towards your freedom, which is why you're buying all the items.
Yes.
For when the time comes to go in that direction. A lot of motherfuckers go to work every fucking day and aren't putting any of it towards their freedom in any way, shape, or form. You know, it's like, if you this is what I was saying yesterday with Marcus on the live. Whatever you do in the system, because we're all in it to some extent or another, some less, some more, but we're all in it to some level or another if we're on these live streams or listening to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guarantee you, everyone who's listened to anything I've ever said is in the system in some form or fashion. If you're going to be in the system in any way, use it to your advantage. Everything should be geared towards your freedom. That should be the intention for all things you do. Even your slavery should be with the thought process of how you're going to even use that thing to get free of that thing. Like, it's,
Yes.
like, that's the mindset you need to have. And even if you never actually find the path out, I guarantee you'll get closer to it in the end than you would have if you didn't try. And the more people that try, the more paths that open up, and the more connections that could be made that can open more paths. Like, this is why we preach and teach, so we can behave in a manner that goes along with the shit we know, so we can ourselves eventually produce the outcome we're looking for, because you can't rely on anyone else to produce the outcome you're looking for. You have to. If you need other people in order to produce that outcome, if you need numbers, then you have to be the person to at least attempt to somehow build numbers. Whether it's just getting one more person or getting 1 billion people, you got to start somewhere. Like, everyone who believes in anything that needs to be done by any certain number of people needs to start somewhere in some fashion and just keep going in that direction. Maybe they'll never get there, but the only way they're going to get there is if they take that first step in that fucking direction. It's like if somebody said, yo, the path to freedom is you got to walk from New York City to Los Angeles on foot. A lot of people just quit right there.
Probably walked enough in a couple of summers to do that anyways.
But you see, you know that because you took the first step and you did all that walking.
Yep.
A lot of motherfuckers are going to quit before they take the first step, when there's going to be other motherfuckers like you who's like, wait, you tell me I just got to walk? I just got to walk. See, that might take me this long to get there. I need provisions. And, all right, I'm walking. But you got to take that first step to get. You'll never get there if you don't take the first step.
That's just one constraint. I said walk. Do I have to walk?
That's the rule, apparently. I'm just saying, like,
oh, that's the rule, but
for that
the rule can be
outcome. But
broken.
if you,
Oh,
but
I see.
again, if you don't get caught,
Yeah.
you know,
So can I steal a plane? Like, if I don't get caught, I can just.
if you don't get caught, you can do whatever you want.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but see, your mind even. A lot of people would quit before the first step. You're already thinking about how to steal a plane to make it faster. That's solutions oriented, and then you're gonna think about how to get away with it so you don't get caught. Like, you're already stacking different ways to get this accomplished in a manner in which they won't even like. You're already trying to break their rules.
Yes.
Most people would quit before they even get to that point. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the problem. That's the biggest problem.
I was even joking with a coworker before I got fired because they thought I was completely serious about everything. Maybe I am, but maybe not to the extent I was talking about. But yeah, it was like, what about gloves? What do you do when they get your fingerprint? They got case gloves at work, and they literally have fucking latex gloves. Or was it nitrile? They got nitrile gloves. He's like, what do you do about gloves? Dude, they have nitrile here. You can wear nitrile.
When he could have just did it. Like, it's, people don't like solutions. They want to complain. You know, like,
He was literally talking about the cops being bad. I was like, then why don't you do something about it? Why do you follow their rules?
Well, I have to. Okay, then keep complaining and never change that. And at least if you're gonna be like, well, I have to, at least follow that up with a for now. Like, you know, like, because you got some sort of plan to not follow them later. Like,
Right.
but people don't look down the line at solutions, at how to undo anything they don't want to be dealing with. They don't even care to think about it.
Black hair.
Yeah, I like the fact I'm just a throw in the corner. They don't even want to think about those types of things. Because a lot of times those answers are shit they just don't want to do. It's just shit they don't want to do. But they don't want to do the shit they're being forced to do right now. So it's like, well, you're going to have to pick a choice. Continue doing the shit that you're forced to do, that you don't want to do. Or go suffer doing something else towards your freedom. Because you're going to suffer anyway. It's like people go, I just want to not suffer. Well, that's never going to happen. Ever.
Yeah.
Like, ever. Existence is, God is broke, God is suffering. Like, like everything is suffering everywhere. Like, to one extent or another. Some more than others. So, the question is, what is your suffering going towards? What is the end goal? You know, so like, is it just going towards you suffering forever and like being a slave for, or is it going to go towards whatever your version of freedom is in some form? Because it might not be my version. My version is destroy all things, which might not even be possible. But whatever your version of freedom is, whatever you think needs to be done, you know, like whatever you think reality can be, that's what you should be pushing towards. Especially if you're performing any form of slavery anyway. Especially if you're already suffering anyway. Especially if suffering exists and it's going to continue existing anyway. You know, like, even if it's not fully worth it in the end, make it more worth it. Like, make it less not worth it. Like, because right now, all the suffering and all the shit that happens in reality, let alone just here as humans on this planet, whatever, like, just in existence, period, is not worth it. So, how do you make it worth it, or get as close to possible as making it worth it? Because it's happening anyway. What outcome do you want? Start behaving in that manner. Start preaching in that manner. Start teaching in that manner. The solutions are simple. Always have been, always will be. People like to overcomplicate shit because they don't like solutions. That's the honest to God truth. I'll say this 1,000 times. I'll say this in every live stream I ever fucking do, because it will never fucking change. The answer is the answer is the answer. 1 + 1 = 2. No matter how many times you fucking ask about it, or complain about it, or like, the solution is still the same. Always has been, is right now, and always will be. Gotta take the pistol off the piss.
I'd literally be looking like, sir, like this. And I don't even have the light on. It goes right here. It's so redundant. Stuff is wild. This thing's a mini sun. That light's bright as it is. I don't even know if that's the brightest it goes. I know it goes to 4,000 lumens. But I've got it on the non-tactical mode so I can switch it out between brightness levels.
And blind him and shoot him.
They're handy at night.
I see people using them on motorcycles to get away from cops.
Ooh,
Put
yes.
the flashing one on and just drive off like that. And the cops can't see shit. They gotta stop. Exactly. You just gave someone a seizure.
Well, I'm sorry, whoever is spazzing out right now.
Someone is a new epileptic as of that moment. They didn't even know it till now.
Consequences of existing in the mind of a broken god.
Suffering. I was just watching a YouTube video and suddenly seizure. Like, I didn't even know I could have seizures. Suffering. Suffering, suffering, suffering. It's a fucked world. In the mind of a fucked god.
Truly is.
Only two answers. Cure it if it's possible, and if it's not, you gotta kill it. If you can cure it, cure it. Maybe creation can be perfect. Probably not, but hey, maybe you'll get closer to it. Maybe it'll be nice enough, you know?
Nice
And if not, kill it.
There's always something to complain about.
Like, you're inside it. You know what I'm saying? Be a white blood cell and help fight off the fucking enemies inside the body of God.
The
Or kill
nanomites.
it. Be an enemy inside the body of God.
Literally nanobots being pictured and called by other names. I was watching Dark Mystic 9 and she had talked about it. Use this phone again and search that thing. I will have to find out what it was called. Actually, I was going to search for that bot, but that works too. She did call it by a certain name. Turn it down on here and click it. Alright. Oh. But, I'll see what it was called. There it is. Bacteriophage. That's a graphic from the video. Medical sciences have all these things and they just tend to call them by different names. It's ridiculous because they don't even see what they're talking about when they're looking right at it. Even when it came to the jibby jab. That was a weird time in history. Late 2019 when they began that whole entity worship. They got the Divock AI systems. That even goes into politics. These people are crazy. I gotta go back to YouTube and press on my live stream again. Yeah, so bacteriophage was that thing, as it was called. Now, what was I even saying? Okay, I'm going back to my live stream on this other one. Arania Scorpio. Luckily, it corrected that thing. Man, this is hard to type on this type of phone. I'm so used to PC keyboards. There we go. Now I'm back on looking at the comments again. Even though I can see them on both. There we go. Having it on this other phone is just so handy. It was basically a injection system, kind of like mosquitoes. Those bastards are stupid. They're actually genius though. That is a biological injection unit that people seem to be ignorant to purposefully. So I was going to go into 2020 stuff. I had been talking about on the Discord server the other day. There was a video that the quote was essentially, whoever you were during 2020 is whoever you truly are. I resonated with that a lot. There were a bunch of dumbasses running around actually not even researching medical science. They would wear, specifically, I think it was non-N24. Was it N24 or something else? Is the name of that mask type?
Oh.
Like they would wear non-N24 masks.
I don't even fucking remember at this point.
Like you had to specifically wear a type of mask.
Yeah.
Which is to block the breathing, to block the diaphragm from getting any particulates from another human being. And I don't even agree with this shit. But let's say that you had to block the freaking nano-sized viral particulates. You would have to wear a certain type of mask. Most people didn't wear that shit. Most of them wore like paint masks.
Yeah.
You don't wear
Stupid
those
shit.
to block viruses. They would have inhaled that shit in an instant if there were actual viral influences in the air.
And even those masks, as we know, don't fucking really do that job. Like,
Yeah, because your skin's gonna contract it.
you really need viral. There's a reason
You
why.
need a hazmat suit.
That's why they wear that in a virology lab. That's literally why they wear that when they're working with coronaviruses, influenzas, etc. They wear an entirely air pressurized virology suit because that's the only way to actually
So I was looking at
not get
people.
contaminated.
Yeah. They were like, "You have to do your part and wear a mask." I was like, "I'm not gonna wear a fucking hazmat suit."
Because what you people are doing means nothing. As a matter of fact, you're making yourself more likely to get sick.
And even when I was being forced to wear a mask, I wore a whole ass hood mask. It was a black mask, and people would just be like looking at me and second looking because I was actually just I was acting like I was on a tactical team. You want me to wear a mask? I mean, I had to keep a restaurant job, so I was like wearing a full baklava, working the dishes with the freaking hat on. I actually looked like some SEAL team member just walked off the job, real angry.
And then went to wash dishes. Yeah, 2020 was retarded.
There were so many paranormal things, like in those up to 2023 especially. Notice the heightened negative polarity in those years.
Yeah. Thanks to humanity always falling for everything. Even the smart ones.
Especially the smart ones. Seem like doctor degrees and whatnot. Particularly doctors, that is.
Well, you want to keep your job. You're going to toe the line when it's time to toe the line.
Oh, yeah.
Or else you ain't going to keep that job. And that's how they control the slaves. You want those things? How do you get those things? You get them this way? Well, how do you keep this? By doing what the fuck we tell you. Like, do otherwise, and you won't keep this, and this won't then get you those things you want so badly.
Speaking of doctors, that reminded me of Splice. I actually watched that movie the other night.
I saw your review.
That was wild. Yeah, people seem to blame the characters that are the products of other characters in movies, I've noticed.
I think that's in all things. I mean, even like, let's look at Gnosticism again, 𝕮𝖊𝖊.
Yeah, exactly.
I was talking about that with Mark last night, where 𝕮𝖊𝖊 was Sophia's son, thrown into a fucking dark abyss.
Yeah, she did all that shit.
You know, fuck the guy. He's torturing us now, according to the story, but
To enable it.
maybe he wouldn't be if he wasn't just tossed into a fucking dark space forever. Like,
Yeah.
like, maybe if he was, treated a little better by his fucking parent. Maybe if his parents' people, his family, the other gods in the Pleroma, reached down and lended him a hand, like, and said, "Hey, bro, no, you're not supposed to come here." Like, you know how you do.
Use Discord on it?
Yeah. You know how you do a child in your family, a nephew, a grandson, a fucking whatever. Like, none of them came to nephew and was like, "Hey, bro, nah, come back this way. This is where the God's at. Your mama fucked up throwing you out of here. Let's."
Yeah, if you haven't watched Splice, you might want to skip this part. But I will quickly read my review on what I thought of the movie. Here we go. The mother character is the true evil. She starts it all, slowly seeks control of this life that she forced into the world. And we're talking in this movie, Splice. Yeah, she gives her genetics, her seed basically, her code, plugs it into this non-human genetic code, splicing. That's why it's called Splice. They splice genetic code together, and gets this new life form its place on Hellrealm Earth. And so she's begun this arc. This entire story is her fault. She's the one with the idea. It wasn't the guy's fault. It was actually her. And if it was the guy's fault, I would blame him. But in this movie, it was the woman, the motherly figure, that did this. The guy wasn't clean either. He did some heinous shit in this film. But both of them sort of coalesce into this ultimate evil. Now, she then enables harmful behaviors by using horrific negative reinforcement. So, both of them do this. The mother character is initially attempting to gain the trust of this poor entity that has been forced into our realm by allowing it to read her, kind of like a dog sniffs. It's just that this thing has its own way of understanding what it's speaking to, what other being it is interfacing with. But before she can do that, the male character initially starts some negativity, thinks it's going to attack her, and provokes it. Now, this is a traumatized baby, so to speak. Yeah, it's this ugly thing that's in this world now, but it's traumatized, and again, it's getting traumatized because it's being misunderstood and attacked as if it's an animal. It really is an animal, but it's really being treated like an animal. By the time things escalate, she is so deprived as to cut this poor creature's stinger. Yeah, it's a very demonic, vampiric looking being, but it's still a being nonetheless, and she's...
And she made it.
Yeah, first she made it, then she enabled its behavior, and then she punished it for the behavior that she has enabled it to do. So it's confused as hell. It doesn't know why humans enable it to do something and then punish it for doing something because it's not getting the same social dynamic and upbringing as humans, which is already skewed anyways, let alone the fact this thing is not human and getting mixed signals from the dumbass humans, which are enabling it. So she punishes it again by cutting its stinger. Now this is important because people want to call this creature evil, but as I taught, practically telling such a being that physical harm to humanoid entities is okay, breaking the final lines of consent. This is the same thing. I think they really made it a point to do this. It's like circumcision to the male. People don't realize how fucked up this shit is. In America especially. People are fucking born into a world where it's okay for people to cut the fucking tip of a penis off of a perfectly functioning male. That their excuse is that it's not clean or you can't clean it easily. Like you can't reveal the tip of your functioning penis to clean it. That sounds a little stupid. That's like if I cut the tip of the clit off of a woman, which it used to be a practice, and they actually call it vaginal mutilation. But no, it's not a fucking problem when it's on a goddamn male, because people are fucking sexist. If it was a woman, it would be a problem. But no, it's a male. And yes, it is a problem for both male and female. People can go fuck themselves. They think it's okay to mutilate a genital on a human being, period. Fucking... I wish I could actually speak to the doctor that did that shit to me. Anyways.
Thank Judaism.
Yes, praise the Jews. What this character essentially did in that critical moment of this film, the motherly character doctorized this idea to this being that it's okay to cut a very critical component from the body. Again, another trauma in a very critical one.
But they don't even realize they just showed her that. Okay.
Right. So now this vampire superhuman being is about to undergo the most... This movie is crazy. So this being undergoes a hormonal experience that changes its sex into a male. Right after it's been practically shown through experience that it's okay to harm other humanoid beings. And who did that? A human did it.
Its parent.
Its parent did that. It's the parent's fault that all of this happened. The conception to the horror itself, it is the parent's fault. And so in the end, this being is on a rampage and it's practically killing people. You can thank the mother.
Yeah.
Of course, the father's at fault too, but
it's a very Sophionic tale.
Absolutely.
Gave birth to it, abused it, put his tip off. And I think the dad tried to fuck it too, if I recall correctly.
It thrust itself upon him, so...
Yes, I remember it when it got all extra matey. Caught heat.
And when It's kind of interesting, the Sophia character, the mother didn't really know what it was like until it threw itself upon her and said, I want inside you. Shit was demonic.
Yep. Should have raised it better. Like, honestly, they should have never made it to begin with. First and foremost.
Absolutely.
But if you're going to, you should really have a good plan for raising whatever the fuck creature you're about to make. Like, no, we're gonna cut it off from all other people. We're not gonna have it in some environment where we can test it and study it properly. Like, we're gonna keep it in our fucking cabin. I think it was in or something, like in the woods or some shit. Like,
Oh, and I love the part that the creatures that were even before her. Remember the ones that they had on the stage in that scene?
I don't actually.
It was like they were these terrible looking things, but they were creatures nonetheless. It wasn't their fault that they looked awful, but it was practically for the movie's effect that these things looked horrible, and the humans had engineered these creatures.
Oh yes, all these spliced creepy. Yep, I remember now.
And they were doing it for pharmaceuticals. They were going to extract, yes. So now here they are before a crowd of people watching. This is their presentation. Here we've genetically engineered these beings that we can harvest. Very archontic. It's really like they are archons.
Mm-hmm.
And let us present our harvestable beings. Well, little did they know that the same thing had happened with these poor entities. Both of them, because one of them had this hormonal experience through interaction with the other. It seems that when they had sex with another of their type, they had these hormones rush through them and they became male. It's just kind of what the female of that type of species did. It wasn't their fault. They were engineered to do this, even by mistake. But that's what happened when their code was messed with. So now both of them are male, and they don't realize that the other one is also the male. So the males are together instead of a male and a female, and they're both looking at each other in front of all these people. They're in a glass cage looking at each other, and they're thinking, okay, we're about to experience their mating sequence, and all of these people are going to be amazed at our new species mating. Well, no. They revealed both to have male stingers, and they both start horrifically stabbing each other.
Yep.
Just
Territory.
They're territorial. It's not their fault. They're programmed to do this. They're just following what they were meant to do. And through this, they horrifically, the bodies don't even look like the horrors they already were. They're just incomprehensible masses of blood and flesh. And the glass breaks. It's kind of funny. It's like breaking the firmament through violence, if you think about it. It's kind of what happened here. Even though the bodies died, now they're kind of free. And all the people that were wishing to harvest them are looking upon in horror as the cage just breaks and the blood splatters everywhere upon them.
Through death, they freed themselves. Right in front of their masters.
That movie was so good. If you actually have a mystical viewpoint, whether or not you do, I recommend watching it.
Splice.
What else should we talk about here?
The father abused the Dren thing.
Oh yes, Dren was her name. Yes.
Then
Father
Dren
did
abused her
abuse
mother
her.
and make her a baby. Learning. Learning.
It was implied at the end of the movie that there was another. If not that one, then another. So I wonder, she could have given birth to another horror.
Another splice.
Yep.
Another Dren.
Because it did enter her body, so to speak, in that scene. Yeah, Splice is hardcore.
That is a crazy movie. That is indeed a crazy movie. What else can we possibly talk about? Any suggestions? There's 5 of y'all in here. Any suggestions? Any questions? Any statements? So you can only say the same thing so many times in so many different ways, and so like
Right.
it's all mythos, and you're looking at all these stories, and they're telling you these things like there's certain shit you just don't do. Like like
Oh, Natural Born Killer. I still gotta watch it. I started it. Got past the restaurant scene, and I think after that I went to bed last night.
shot everybody in the fucking restaurant.
That was hilarious.
Did they leave anyone alive in the restaurant? They usually leave one person alive.
Reconnected. I left just that one guy alive so he could tell whoever else who did it. Tell him it was us.
Make sure they know it was us. That was a great fucking movie. Even when he's in the prison later, when you watch it, he explains why they kill. He calls it pure. Like it's a fire little speech he gives. Like the way he answers questions in that movie is just fucking great. Because he's not bullshitting, and it's not complex. It's not convoluted. It's not 1,000 hoops to jump through. People making all sorts of political and legal arguments. And, oh, well, we have to bomb this country because they have a tyrant
light
because of
over
these
here.
things. I don't know what it is.
Go for it. Both.
Darkness.
The bathroom door is open as if to beckon. It's so weird.
As if to beckon.
There we go. Oh, this is so much better. They got this flashing red light over here. Check this out.
Looking like Skynet or some shit in the corner.
The cooler is the Skynet over everything. The quantized air and at this point femtotech. It is all Skynet. Orientation is locked.
Not like it's actually recording. It just looks funny on the screen. What were you saying about Skynet?
Nah, the femtotech, the nanotech, the quantum entanglement tech, the li-fi, light fidelity.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier I was imagining this demonic black being just sitting on the red couch there.
Sitting in the chair over there.
Yes. Watching the great work.
Well, they were brought in as soon as we walked in. And I did set up the altar as soon as we got here.
Yes.
It's the first thing I do everywhere I go. Set the foundations.
I love how this window looks.
And I covered the cross in the hallway. With black mass.
Always despise the cross. I despise the crucifixion. Or is it, what's it called? A crucifix more. I do despise the cross. I find the cross semi-revolting and the crucifix extremely revolting.
Because it's like the mousetrap and then the mousetrap with the mouse in it.
Pretty much.
The cross is the open cube. And then you put the Christ on it. And sacrifice it. It's like you murder it on the thing and they treat it like that's a good thing.
It's so dumb. It's like, do you worship Jesus? Then why is there this imagery of him bleeding out and being sacrificed to the thing that he denounced? Dumbasses. Satanists. It's so dumb. I call myself a Satanist because I command time, but then they're like, oh, Satan's bad, and yet, here's the sacrifice.
It's all semantics today. That's why I always say, to me, Satanist, it depends on who you're talking to. Like, what definition are they using? What definition of Satan are they using? Who are they calling Satan?
Correct.
And then I'll have the conversation from that manner. Like, I could say, hail Satan and fuck Satan in the same breath.
I just want to worship Lucifer. But I want to be the representation of that as knowledge.
No, you must worship it. Like, they don't get it. Some folks do. Many folks don't.
I have always pissed the religious people off of both sides. They really... You got the people that are mad at you because you can't... You admit the aspect of Yeshua that has that within him, but then you also admit the point that's against that. And repeat ad nauseum for every single being or idea in existence. Of deep underground military bases. Just a random idea.
Dumbs.
Dumbs, yes. The Majestic 12.
Those behind the ACIO.
What does that stand for again?
The Alien Contact something office or something. The ACI. It's where all those UFO
Investigation?
files come from.
Alien Contact Investigation Office, I guess.
Some shit. If people Google it, they'll find it. If they Google it hard enough.
I know
if there's other
I've seen it
ACIOs out there.
before.
But that's where, like, when they had, what was his name?
Stephen Greer.
Yeah, when they had, like, all those dudes talking to Congress and whatnot, every document they had came from the ACIO, which was created by the Majestic 12 and the Jasons.
Yeah, that's so interesting how they got those. And they go in with the black and the white lodges as well. Even the blue lodges. What color are lodges in there? They got probably other colors that aren't even labeled because they're actual colors. There's probably a fucking lodge there.
There's a lodge everywhere.
Oh, this house is a lodge currently.
Yes, it is. I always say everywhere I go is a temple, because I'm there. Wherever the priest is, the temple is. And these people behave the same way, so. Everything they say that comes from the ACIO, I take with a grain of salt.
That's going to be interesting how they
keeping it out.
run that dynamic. 2027. A lot of times the channelers come up with that. Because they're really just channeling beings that are in that control system.
2027 is expected for the superintelligence to come online.
There was a comet found interesting. I didn't remember the name of it. That it was lined up with Mars. Use the phone again. Look on Discord. I think I put it in space weather. And it lined up exactly with Mars. As if it's just gonna drop something there, or actually might be. Yeah.
Interstellar object?
Yep. Alignment with Mars. Oh yeah. Audio is off, so that's good. Damn ads. I bet it does too. Oh. Okay, there it is. What's it called? It'll say it in the video.
3i Atlas?
3i Atlas, that's it. It just lines up exactly with Mars. I think it was 0.02 AU.
Which is right there.
Yeah. It was so close it could just drop something onto the planetary surface and then continue through the solar system. It's a very fast object, and it just seems way too intentional that it would get that close to a planet. Especially the Martian planet. I also saw remember the one with AI in it? What was it called again? Was it one 𝕿𝖗𝖊𝖏 something, whatever that comet was called. Or I don't even know if that one was a comet. It was another object.
Recently?
Yeah, there was another one that they were talking about at a higher speed.
The one that passed before, Oumuamua?
No, it was actually really recent. Multiple recent objects now. Within this year recent. AIIC. I think. And it was just so dumb because I think it might have been 1 instead of a I, like A1. I forgot what it was called. It kind of translated to that, though.
Happy goat. If existence and consciousness itself will still have parasites lurking around, and any form of issues lurking around, is best non-existence and unconsciousness happens. Nothingness is the true solution. I would agree. But even if people don't agree with that, I bet you whatever their solution is would push in the same direction for at least a certain extent in order to reach whatever their solution is. You know, it's like, even if folks read what you just said and don't agree with you, Happy Goat, they should at least think about what they think the solution is and start pushing in that direction. But I would agree. I think existence itself is a mistake. Like, God didn't even control God's existence happening. Like, and has lost its mind. That's my thought process based on my experience. So even God is crazy. If you can cure it, cure it. If you can't, kill it. You know? Let the chaos sort it out. If it restarts it, it happens all over again, well, hey, we gotta do it all over again. You know, like, and if it doesn't, then hey, it doesn't. But all we could do is try. All we can do is try. Well, creation itself clearly is putting everyone in danger. If things are too problematic, then let's all sleep. Let's all sleep in nothingness. Fuck it. Yeah, I agree. The void.
Good old void.
Go back to the bosom of the Dark Mother. And sleep in the empty womb for eternity. If that's even possible. Because it might not even be possible. But I say push in that direction because, well, it's the only way you'll ever find out. At least hold the intention based upon everything that you do, think, talk, teach, preach. And again, for anyone who doesn't agree with that, whatever they think the solution is, push in that direction. Like, you know, like, and I always say that because I know somebody just read what you said, Happy Goat, and they're just thinking about arguing. You know, like, this is how, rather than coming with another solution or whatever they think the solution is, they'd like to just argue against yours.
We are not on a, we're not on StreamYards or anything. We're actually sitting together in the same cabin currently.
But shout out to you, Lavish.
Actually overlooking a lake. I love how symbolic it is.
Yes.
Under the moon. Is it a half moon?
Like 3/4-ish.
Very much Hecatian energy.
And tomorrow the shrooms will be popping.
Yes, the shrooms. Cannot wait.
I'll see if we can find some firewood and start a fire.
Want to do that now?
Right now?
No.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. That's good.
Because I like looking at fire on shrooms.
That'll be fun.
Don't get me wrong, my favorite thing to do on shrooms is watch anime. There is nothing in this reality like anime. Like,
so many good anime.
I've been all over the place. I've seen all types of nature, all types of people, all types of places and events, and there is nothing like
I like the anime art
being
as well.
on shrooms and watching anime.
You would know I like the anime art.
Oh, I know you do. Happy Goat. Well, I've done nothingness, lucid dreaming, OVEs. It's incredibly relaxing. I don't see any point in creating existence. There is truly nothing to do, in my opinion.
You are doing something saying there's nothing to do.
True. Then again, ultimately, if all things are being done,
to do, though.
You're going to do what you're going to do anyway.
That is correct.
But I think I get what he's saying.
I get it, yeah.
There's nothing
I can
to
see
do.
where it's coming from.
But I would say, if you want it all to return to nothing, well, there's your something to do.
How to recreate the reaction. The
Yeah.
entropy.
How to uncreate what was created. How to undo what was done.
You ever notice that so many so-called alien factions hate nuclear reactions?
From what I've heard,
And that's high levels of entropy.
yes, it is. Big booms.
Supposedly that caused one of the major impact events, as they called it, an impact event that killed dinosaurs and Draco beings all over the place on this planet. So one way the story goes was that the oxygen level was, and the chemical composition of the atmosphere was just so absurdly different that the Draco themselves decided to use a bomb and colonize a section of the Earth. They set this thing off, a bunch of dumbasses, and the thing just rapidly expands in energy, causing a mass extinction event.
Let off big bombs, you never know.
Perfect
Shit
example of attempting to control a demolition and having it go all haywire.
Uncontrolled. I don't know, man. Oh, happy goat. I don't know, man. It's just there will never be perfection, will there? And it depends on how you define perfection. As far as experiencing perfection, I would say no. Like, we can get into math and go into the quantum of it. Like, I can talk some perfection shit, but as far as like being an individuated being and experiencing what it would be considered perfection, good luck with that. Like, I highly doubt it will ever happen. But there's only one way to find out: either cure God or kill it. But no, I would say there will never be perfection.
A part of God must die in the process.
Chromiums, even entropy is an action. Correct. Producing entropy, I guess, would be the way to say it. Even producing entropy is an action because you're doing something to create entropy. You becoming a point of entropy. And I was saying that yesterday with Marcus, how basically as slaves we're all points of neg entropy for the enemy instead of being points of entropy for the enemy. Instead of being entropic to their systems and their control structures, we are negentropic and actually help sustain them. Because we're not chaotic enough. But yes, even entropy is an action, which is why I said, the happy goat, if you want everything to become nothing again, well, the something you can do is push things in that direction.
And the fairies are watching from the window.
Hello, fairy window. Window fairies. Fairy window.
See like a shadow or something dancing.
Imperfection can't speak for perfection. The two are mutually exclusive. Yeah,
I wrote something on that.
I would say so.
I forgot where I typed it.
And I would also say imperfection could never truly experience perfection. To truly experience perfection, you'd have to be perfect yourself. Now, if there is a path to true perfection, but then again, define true perfection. As an imperfect being, define perfection. And define it in an experiential manner.
An imperfect being could be part of a perfect system, if you ask me.
A system could be perfect based on, but again, even the perfection of that system is based on what it's seeking for an outcome. The being experiencing it might be like, this is not perfection.
That is the problem.
Because for their experience, for what they're seeking, that would not be perfect.
Exactly.
But for what the system is seeking, no, this is perfect. You know, like. And that's why I like to break it down to like the math of it versus the experience of it, because you can get mathematical perfection. You can get perfection in reality based on what you're, calling perfection, which is usually going to be based in somewhere in quantum numbers, particles, fucking like systems. But when it comes to people's experience of these things, that's when I go, you're never going to have a perfect realm. There's never going to be some place where you are in a perfect anything. Like, it's experience is experience. As long as you can experience, then you can also experience bad. And if you can experience bad, you almost certainly will experience bad. And you'll more likely experience it more than you experience good. Because that's just the odds. That's the numbers. That's that's the math.
The math be mathin'.
The math be mathin'. Happy goat. Even then, like-minded people like us grouping up in a commune, there will still be fuck-ups, of course. Arguments, of course. Problems, of course.
I knew it. He's what's his name? With all the alts. Just let his comment. I don't know who he...
I don't think that is him.
Can't tell.
Because I've seen him in here a few times. And he's yet to call anyone a demon, so... I've always liked being alone. I just get to deal with me and silence. Well, do you?
Oh, no, I'm not talking about that guy. I'm talking about the guy that was in the sober.
Underground tunnels in South America. You're going to fight the authorities and elites by going underground or prepping soon? Now, when you say underground, do you literally mean underground? Or
underground?
You mean off the grid? I mean, we've been prepping. Like, you're supposed to be always...
Prepping is a mindset.
Prepping is everything. Like, like... It might be him, though. The guy who's obsessed with going underground in South America to find the caves with the fucking portals out. I'm like, bro, you go find me that cave, get some video evidence, and I'll come with you.
Find the spiral. Some channels talk about the spirals.
Off the grid, whatever.
They're guided by other beings.
Well, we go more and more off the grid as much as we can. That's the goal.
2-12-1-2.
Crodiums. The more people seek perfection, the more they will be alone.
Dude.
Even if that perfection is the better option for all.
The timestamp was 2-12-2-1. 6 viewers and 11 likes. That's wild.
These things occur. Numbers. Shit, if you seek perfection, good luck. Like, good luck.
Lucky good.
But honestly, for those who really do, if they are seeking some sort of perfection, still gonna take step one to get there. Like, like, might as well take steps in that direction and see what actually happens. Whatever you see as perfection. Because people can argue all day about what perfection actually is. Especially when they're talking about an experience of perfection as opposed to like some sort of mathematical like constant of some sort, like especially from a human perspective. I've heard theories that if one digs so deep in the sand dunes in any country, they'll eventually find tunnels and underground cities. Even cities have tons of links.
I agree.
Yeah.
I've heard of some areas in my city that could be close to some.
There is underground shit all over the place. Even ancient underground shit, let alone current underground shit that's active and whatnot.
I bet if I could get into steam tunnels under one of the streets, there'd be a direct connection under a library in Bristol, Virginia, Tennessee.
Y'all got anything specific y'all want to talk about? Any questions?
Just about the adrenochrome artist thing or something. Go wild.
They should know about that though.
They'll know.
It's like low hanging fruit. Somebody give us a hard question. Like that's something real retarded. Ask something outlandish.
Yes.
Ask something surprising. So honestly, a lot of shit we talk about is just in the fucking Discord every day. Like, just trying to even think about shit to talk about half the time is like, I'm talking about this shit all day. Like, in realistic terms, one can only save themselves. Yeah, it's the same guy. Ain't no motherfucker willing to hop on and help you out. You know, it's just not like that. Yet I'm sitting next to Aaron A right now. People are too ingrained in their own issues and have self-interest. Well, forget about those people. Find your people.
Find your people.
Find who agrees with you. Maybe do a chat on StreamYard. I don't want to do that right now. I actually hate opening it up and having fucking 12 people just jump in and talk about whatever random shit they're gonna fucking like. If we're gonna talk random, I'd rather be random one-on-one, just with nothing to talk about. Like, I'll watch Josh when he does that. Has eight people on and shit. But this shit's melee. And a lot of times, again, even us, we're repetitive with a lot of the shit we say. Like, a lot of the shit is repetitive. So to have like 8 people on who are all saying the same shit anyway, like, and most of the time they reach generally the same levels of, you know, tiers of reality and complexities. And so even though you got 8 people on, it's not even like you really have 8 different viewpoints or levels, or, you know what I'm saying? To go battle mode on people. You know what? Maybe I'll do that one day. Not today. Like, but that doesn't sound like a terrible idea. Just go on StreamYard and be like, who wants to argue with me? Who disagrees? Who's got better answers? Bring them forth. That's a good idea, Crodiums, actually. It's not a bad idea. I just don't want to do that right now, that's for sure. But we can definitely do that at some point. Gnosis battles. I would call it a solution battle, because I don't want to argue theories. It's pointless. I accept all theories.
I'm getting tired.
I literally accept all of them. There's no point arguing them. They're just theories. Like, just put them in their box. But solutions? Well, yeah, we can talk solutions. If you think mine is bad, tell me why. But you better have another one. Like, you better have a solution to the problem I'm talking about, you know? Because that's what I'm giving a solution to. Now, if you have a whole other problem that you want to provide a solution to, by all means. But if you're going to argue my solution to whatever I'm saying is a problem, you better have a solution of your own, you know? Like, have a good logical reason to disagree with mine. And then give us yours, you know? Enter the Qliphoth, engage in full-on Gnosis combat. Gnosis combat! Yeah, it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. Maybe it'll get people to talk about solutions. I don't know. Probably not. They probably just want to argue about stupid shit. But if folks want to talk those solutions, yeah, that's not a bad idea. I'll do it. Not right now, but I will definitely put that on the list. Shout out to you, Crodiums. You about ready to get off?
Yeah, I'm tired.
Yeah. I'm good to go. I want to go smoke something. Maybe shoot some pixels. Nah, I think I'm just going to smoke and go to bed. I'm tired today. I'm driving 8 fucking hours and shit. Well, I didn't drive. Lindy drove. Shout out to her. Love you, boo. As she sleeps in the other room. Just being on the road 8 hours. After driving from New York to Michigan, and, you know, from Michigan down here, and we got more driving to do in a few days.
What else you plan on doing tomorrow?
Just
Like, what? I suppose just hanging out anyways.
Well, the main event is the shrooms.
Yes. Shrooms would be wonderful.
And honestly, float to whatever else comes up. Probably go for a walk in the woods in the daytime when I can actually see and not rub up on all the poison ivy in the world with my shorts on.
Yeah, fuck poison ivy in particular.
Go look at the animals and study nature and watch the ants fight each other on the ground and the birds fight each other in the sky.
I was listening to whatever live stream it was. The Invisible War.
The Invisible War. It's funny that me and Mark was talking about that yesterday, that massive ant war, and then like
Yeah, that was it.
right after we went off live, there's a little science channel I watch with this chick, and she instantly started talking about like the ant war. Like it popped up right after we were done going live. I was like, that's interesting. Still haven't watched it, but I gotta. She talks about the ant war on planet Earth, like, because that's the craziest shit happening anywhere on the planet, and we're not even like aware of it. But if you go outside and just start following ants, you'll find the wars. You'll find their home. You'll find all sorts of crazy shit, wild shit going on. Things getting killed. Like, just follow ants around. Like,
Actually, that's probably the best way to find a deep underground base. You could just start randomly following ants.
Have to become Ant-Man. For real though. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe try to start that fucking fire. Definitely want to see if the sky's clear. See what the stars look like out here on the mountainside, like.
Yes.
And see if we can see the sky grid, the hologram. Because, you know, as far as I'm concerned, like right now when I look up, I can see all the dots and everything. Like,
About the rings.
You can see the hologram. But if you go with the mushrooms, my God, it's just clear as day. It's like this is a fucking digital realm.
The angel seraphim like rings around the earth?
You can see something like that. The blinding rings, I like to call them.
They spin rapidly.
But only, honestly, I think you gotta.
There's a few different ones.
The mushrooms, I don't think are best for that. That's probably something more for LSD. Some shit along those lines.
Just kind of felt their presence. I haven't actually seen them necessarily. Like under the astral in my mind, I've seen them.
I call them the blinding rings. But we're gonna see some shit tomorrow. We're gonna watch the trees bleed into the sky. Every fucking thing is gonna have a face on it. And have conversations with the fungus, which is another intelligence that connects all the parts of your brain and your biological intelligence, allowing your conscious to have a better experience rather than the limited one you have with all the parts of your physiology not talking to each other as they should be. Like your brain is a computer and the whole thing doesn't even talk to each other. Like there's you start taking them shrooms and there's parts of your brains talking to other parts of your brain that ain't never had a conversation in your whole life. So shit gets trippy. And it's a easy kind of trippy. Like you're not hallucinating or anything like that. You're just kind of seeing your reality a bit differently. Which for someone like me is just confirmation. For other folks it's mind breaking because it's like they thought it was all real. Like they you know, it's like they didn't see reality a certain way before doing it, so kind of fucks with them. Some for a good, you know, and some are like, I'll never do that again. But I think for those with any type of mindsets like ours, it's great to do when you have that mindset and you're looking for it and you're going into it for that purpose. Because then it won't really fuck you up. It'll be more like confirmation of everything you ever knew. Like,
Do you usually see like spirits that surround people when you do this one?
Not shrooms in particular. That actually, for me, happens after meditations on its own.
I wonder what you'd see around me. Interesting.
Darkness.
Pretty much.
There's some red to it.
I do see the red orbs a lot.
But if I explained what I saw in a lot of people, they'd probably be afraid of themselves. Because a lot of them look like demons, and that's not a bad thing. Like they don't understand. Like your true self doesn't look like a human. Like
Or I bet mind's freaking.
a lot of motherfuckers look like eldritch creatures.
The
Like
closest thing to mine would probably be my symbol.
yeah. I had to think about that for a second. But yeah. There's a reason why you came up with it.
Sort of saw it in some meditation.
But honestly, that for me, that's better after some decent meditation than it is on shrooms. On shrooms, it's more like, as opposed to seeing all the real, like, the realness, you see all the fakeness, plain as day.
I see.
Which is the realness, because it's fake. Like, it's not, you know? But, like, a lot
then
of...
you can also invert that. You can see the negative of that.
Yeah. That's exactly, yep. But, you know, it all depends on your perspective of reality. For me, I see the hologram. And it just becomes more and more clear when I'm on shrooms. And then, when you turn on something like anime, the TV disappears. And it's like there's another universe floating in the fucking room that you're in. It gives you a perspective on universes and universes and universes, simulated realities and simulated realities. Because that is a reality in your reality. Like, used to what?
That's how I used to watch movies.
That's how I watch everything. But anime to me is just the best at it.
Yeah.
And it looks dope because you're on shrooms. Like, it's like I like some great movies and stuff, but when you're on shrooms, you watch something dazzling. You might as well watch something animated if you're gonna watch anything. If you're not going out in the woods to just fucking, which I don't care to do for them. I mean, you can. That is nice to do as well, but it's like
𝕮𝖊𝖊𝖊.
if you go out there on shrooms and it's. I mean, for me, it's still normal. Like the way I think a lot of people look at the world on shrooms is how I look at the world normally. So for me, going on shrooms and just going outside and just sitting there and like looking at nature is just like, okay, yeah, like I'm already there. Like I don't.
Very true.
So I focus it and I'll turn on something to specifically gather mythos out of, like anime. I'll use it for something along those lines as opposed to just sit around letting the universe tell me something. Like, it has never told me some shit I didn't already know. Like, it's never, I've never come back from any type of trip with some brand new knowledge, maybe some perspective on it. But that perspective usually came from my own focus on it, my own thought processes, my own meditation, or experiencing some mythos in some form or fashion. I'm never learning some brand new thing, like. And it's funny because when I watch people do that and they learn these brand new things and they tell you what they are, it's always some basic ass shit that, like, usually any new ager could tell you, let alone any real occultist or spiritualist or, like. So I don't use it for those purposes anymore. I used to. I've done all that. But after doing that, it's like, okay, yeah, I see what that provides me. Now let me provide myself with what I want to provide myself with for my own astral purposes.
Kind of how I went with the occult for a while.
What you mean?
First, just studying things and realizing what they meant, but also realizing that I kind of had those innate thoughts initially and got sidetracked. And then after that, I was just, at some point, in a way less mystical, more physical with it. I get all of that, but I want to use that to empower me.
To empower you. And that's how it should be. Not to empower some god you're worshiping outside of yourself that is going to rule over you and you're going to sing its praises. But I would say one good thing about shrooms is that it does give people that everything is everything feeling. Where it's kind of clear that it's all like just meshed into one. I remember like a week ago, me and Lindy were sitting outside just looking at the reality, and she's like, the grass looks digital, the trees look, and it all looks like one smear that you move into because you're in this. And as I walked out into the grass, she was like, you look digital now. I'm like, yep, because this is all a TV screen. Like this is all pixelated and shit, like down into the quanta. It's not literally a TV screen, but it's the quantum equivalent. Like, it's a holographic reality. And when you're on shrooms, that becomes just blatantly fucking obvious. If you know what that is. You know, for people who don't know what that is, they're, oh, this is just crazy. Like, but if you actually understand these things and then you see it, you go, yeah, that makes perfect sense. I understand why the world looks this way under these circumstances.
I think I'm going to grab me a bath or a shower soon enough. to bed.
Well, there's no more questions or anything like that, so fuck it.
All
We'll
right.
hop off.
Thank you all for watching.
Deuce.